Hey everyone, my name is UnderratedHero and today I'll be reviewing the brand new Lighthouse episode Legends. Let's get started. Alright, so this episode was written by Whitney Weta and Sammy Crowley and storyboarded by Miguel Puga. Whitney Weta and Sammy Crowley are actually one of my favorite writers in the show, they always work together, and they have made amazing episodes. Most notoriously, they made the 3 big specials so far, 11 Hours Sleeping, Relative Chaos, and Tricked. And Miguel Puga is my favorite storyboarder in the show because his storyboards are simply amazing, they look like the final product to be honest, it feels like it only needs coloring and some in-betweens. And this episode was actually really important for Puga because only a day after he was given the script, his father passed away. And he knew this was going to be a Legends episode, but he didn't know it was going to be a father and son episode. And it meant a lot for him to do it. It was quite a challenge, and I believe we all should, recognize his effort on making this. He could have just handed it away for someone else to do it, but he decided to go through it, and I don't know, I feel like the result was amazing and he needs to be recognized about this bravery test he just passed. But let's talk about the actual episode. This might be the first crossover in the Lighthouse series, because it actually brought back the Legends of the Hidden Temple, which was a live-action show back in the 90s. I don't have a lot of memories about this show, but I remember watching it when I was a kid, maybe around 3 to 5 years old, and I watched a few episodes to get in the mood to see how they will handle it, and they did it perfectly. I mean, of course, because it was Nickelodeon's, but they did a great job at bringing back the show. It's actually like watching the show all over again with our favorite characters from this show. It's really interesting, and I feel like that's actually the most interesting thing about this episode, but we'll get into that later. But aside from a Legends of the Hidden Temple episode, this was a father and son episode. It was the first episode, I believe, to really show bonding moments between Lincoln and Lynn Sr. I feel like in a family as big as Lincoln's, of course it's important to show the relationship between Lincoln and his sisters, that's what the show is supposed to be about. But there's also his parents, they are part of the family too, and I love that they're actually getting more and more importance in the plots of the episodes. I loved Lincoln and Lynn Sr.'s dorkiness for moments and how they teamed up together at the beginning. And then, well, I believe that this is the first complaint I have, that the resolution to their little argument felt a little rushed. I understand that it's possible to realize that you've been acting like a jerk, as soon as you've done something that you regret, but I felt like the show lacked a climax, like it missed the most important part of the second act or the beginning of the third act. I believe that it was, it was too rushed because it had to show a lot of the games from Legends of the Hidden Temple, but in doing so, it actually forgot to kinda show the relationship between Lincoln and Lynn Sr. and how they will surpass this obstacle, which was the competition itself. I feel like their relationship got tossed aside for a second and it was brought back at the end maybe, but yeah, what I thought would happen, and I really don't want to sound like I know better than the writers, because like I said, I love Whitney and Sammy, they're my favorite writers, and I could never dare to say that I know better than them. But what I thought they would do was, how when they went into the temple, Lincoln falls to the pit, Lynn Sr. saves him, and then Lincoln is the one who saves Lynn Sr. from the guard. Well, I thought that the lesson was that they had to make teamwork and have a good relationship. I thought that what was going to happen was that the other team, the Silver Snakes, they will go into the temple, the kid will fall in the pit, but the father wouldn't save him because he wanted to show that there were no losers or something, and then when he faced the guard, there was no one to have his back. So they would lose because they didn't act like a team. I thought that was going to be like the clever twist or something. It's not like it's too clever, but I thought that would make a little more sense. They didn't do it, I'm sure they have their reasons, but I felt like nothing really happened. Because that scene at the airport, probably was written because they wanted something funny, which I can totally understand, but I don't know, I feel like I still need to point out that the episode felt like, I was like, oh, it ended already? Where's the resolution? What's going to happen next? No, it ended just like that, and well, I liked it, but yeah, I feel like it didn't really make me feel anything, which is a shame because it was a really great father and son bonding episode so far. But well, that's just me, maybe you loved it and that's perfectly fine, that's just my impression. But there were a lot of things I actually enjoyed about this episode. The games from Legends of the Hidden Temple, I thought they were perfect. Like, if the point of this episode was to show a crossover to brought back Legends of the Hidden Temple, then they succeeded, because this episode was great. It was a great episode of Legends of the Hidden Temple with Lajo's characters, which is really clever. I really liked it. And I really loved the way Kirk Fogg was introduced on each scene, and I'm pretty sure that's totally on Puga, because that's the type of thing that I assume the writers don't really explain how the character is introduced to the scene. They leave that to the storyboarder's imagination, and Puga is a really clever and creative storyboarder. And all Kirk Fogg introductions, how they got in the scene, they were all really funny. I thought they were really funny, and I really congratulate him for that. It's just a little detail, but I liked it. Then the antagonists, I forgot his name, but they were the Silver Snakes, and I don't know, I feel like they didn't really have much. They were like your regular jerks. That's perfectly fine. I don't think in an episodic series like this, you don't need really well developed antagonists just for one episode. So yeah, I guess they did their role, and that's fine. Again, it's nothing memorable, but well, it did its job. So yeah, this whole episode, let's go with my final analysis. And like I said, it didn't really make me feel anything. It seemed like the interesting thing of this episode was, bringing back Legends of the Hidden Temple. This was also, it tried to be a father and son bonding episode, and for moments it succeeded. I really loved the idea that Lincoln wanted to do something his father liked, his father wanted to do something he liked, they then tried to do something new because they wanted to have something in common. That's a really great premise right there. It's a strong message. It's a really great thing that happens in family. You want to do stuff with your siblings, your relatives, because it allows you to bond deeper. And I really like that they tried to find something they could do in common. But yeah, so it didn't do anything wrong for me. It didn't have anything that was outright bad. I just didn't feel like it had something to make it great. So my score for this episode will be a 6 out of 10. I had to rate it. A good episode, not too memorable, not too exciting or perfect, but it wasn't bad at all. I really liked it. I enjoyed watching it. And just as a little side note, I also feel like Lincoln's voice actor is actually starting to sound a little more like the first one, like Grant Palmer. Colin Dean is starting to sound a little older, and it's actually sounding really great. His first episodes, his delivery was a bit off, but I've seen it in the podcast, I've seen it in the Facebook live streaming, and in these new episodes, he really feels like an 11-year-old kid. I really like that, so that's also a plus. Well, that's it for now. That's my analysis and my review for this episode. I hope you like it. You can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can like this video, share it in your social media. You have my links there to go to my Patreon, my Tumblr, my fanfiction page to read my fans because I write and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new video.